back to the MMCast podcast, Previously Mastered in Modern. I'm your host, Alex Kessler, here with new hosts. We got some guest hosts today. We have the TappyToeClaws and Shivam Bhatt. Welcome, both of you.
Hello.
Hey, I'm also a person here.
So Ben is traveling to Seattle for the month because you got to travel for months at a time in this environment, and we are talking about a subject matter that these two guests are in different way experienced in, so we want to get into that. And we're talking about, and please say the real name after I say the wrong name, sealed box commander leagues, and they're called
we at least in my league, we call them the EDH Boxing League. And which is just a really cute, clever branding, but really all it is just limited commanders, basically what it is.
And so before we get into it, Shivam, why don't you go first? Let people know who you are, for those who don't know.
Hi, I'm Shivam. I'm on the Commander Advisory Group, and I host a podcast called Casual Magic. And yeah, that's what I am.
Tappy?
Oh, I'm TappyToeClaws. You might know me as the person who pretends to be, but actually also is a dinosaur on the internet, because I'm old now, officially. I'm also going to open up a fake Shivam Bhatt Gmail account so that everyone who is mad at him on the internet can email me, because I promise I will be less nice than Shivam is, and he needs somebody like that in his life. So if you have problems with Commander rules decisions, you can email definitely, totally, actually Shivam at gmail.com. And you'll definitely get Shivam, and it won't just be me pretending to be him and telling you that you're all wrong and that none of you know what fun is anymore.
Seriously, Olivia will always text me. She's like, "Hey, stop."
That's because she is a good friend. But yeah, so I'm also kind of a commander person. I used to cosplay in the before times. Now I just kind of pull the Tiny Tim and wear rags around my house and eat soup and look sad. That's what Tiny Tim does, right? Experience. I'm pretty sure it's been a while.
Did he get soup? I feel like, well, Tiny Tim is Kermit the Frog. And I only know this from the Muppet version. So Kermit the Frog's son, right? With the crutches.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Cool. So yeah, I feel like he's got soup. They had like a whole goose or turkey. I don't know how Christmas works. All right.
I want now Kessler's Christmas stories. That's what I want.
I can provide that with divorced parents and double Christmas. So today we're talking about EDH boxing leagues, and for those, I'm going to do a brief description. We're going to let Shivam, since you've participated in the original one, or at least the one that kind of started this as the new thing people are doing, and describe what it is. But basically, people buy a box. They build a commander deck out of that box. There's more rules to that, and I'm going to let Shivam explain them. But that's the concept from a
macroist level,
bird eye view.
All right. So basically, what happened is the legendary Brian David Marshall was sitting there and talking to Sheldon Menery, the father of Commander, and Brian was like, "You know what? I have way too many packs and boxes just sitting around, because Brian's been playing for 1,000 years, and plus he gets compensated in boxes when you do events and stuff, and he's just Brian David Marshall. Of course he's got magic cards." And Sheldon Menery, being the head of Commander and head judge, also just could build a house out of boxes. And they were like sitting there like, "Yo, it's early quarantines, we've got nothing else to do, I want to crack a pack and play some games. Why don't we try doing..." And Brian David Marshall is legendarily a EDH player who hates Commander decks, aka hates products that were made specifically for Commander, or like things that are made like Arcane Signet. No bueno. But
we have him on so we do the Monday night live stream. He was on 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, depending on how time works. And a good portion of that episode is him complaining about Commander products.
Oh yeah, he hates it. We all know this. But he was like, "You know what? I want the pure old school experience of digging through crates. So we're just going to grab a random box of whatever's sitting here, build an EDH deck out of it." And him and Menery got together and they're like, "You know, it would be cool if we got a bunch of our friends to do this." So they got a bunch of other content creators and other EDH people who would just have boxes around, so that we could dodge the whole problem of this is an incredibly bourgeoisie and expensive hobby. This is like literally the most self-indulgent way to play Commander. Let's be real for a second. I will just say that off the top, this is super, short of like mystery box Commander sealed, this is like the most...
It's really fun, but
it's hella fun.
There's like
but
12
I just wanted
mystery
to stave
boxes
off any criticism right off the top. We know that this is expensive. This is not for everybody. Literally, it's just because we had boxes sitting around.
I guess
but
from one thing I will say before we jump past that, from a podcast that was previously the Masters of Modern podcast, this is a very inexpensive way to play Magic. Especially if you're like, if I buy a box of M20 that like just rotated out of standard but still is in wide print, you probably could get it for under $100, and now like you have an entire like an $80 commander deck is pretty inexpensive on the larger scale of decks.
Yarok or something.
Right. Yeah, and you can and those cards are worth something, right? Like it's kind of the whole like opening packs to just open packs is a bad use of your money, but if you're opening packs to play a draft or something, then you're getting at least a movie's worth of entertainment from those packs, and the cost is about the same. Sorry, continue.
So basically, the way they came up with the league that they ended up coming up with, and we're working on some modifications to it because it was obviously the first iteration. But here's the way it works. You take a box of, for us, we took any box that is standard legal, but not a reprint set, not a modern set, not a Horizons, no like Battle Bond, no supplementary sets, just anything that was ever a standard legal generic set or a core set, and build a commander deck out of it. And hopefully you pull one, like any of the modern sets will always have at least one multicolor legend. Like you can even use your box topper if you got one of those. Try not to pick a set like Eldraine where they're all monocolor legends. You will be very sad. But and then each week you can take a set that is not in your pool and add 6 packs from that set to your pool. So if I, like for my example, I started off with Theros 2, whatever the new Theros set is called.
Beyond Death?
Thank you. Theros Beyond Death. And I got a cool Uro deck with the greatest hits of standard of the time. And then I added M12 for my first week. And then next week, I could add a set that's not Theros or M12. So I added Legions, right? And so half of the fun is just going through, and whatever you have 6 random ass packs of, you can just grab and add them to your pool. And now as you go, if for instance, if I ended up starting off with Clothis or some other weird thing, and I was like, you know what, I found a cooler commander in my later sets, you can grab that commander and take your whole pool that you've opened so far and rebuild your deck so that you can play a different deck each week so that it doesn't get stale. Now, that's kind of the way it works. And in practice, after about 4 or 5 weeks, you're no longer adding large chunks of cards. You're adding a handful, maybe even 1 card. So I would say you would want to have a league of this to last 4 editions total. And if I was going to offer my advice to anybody right off the top, the way it is, if you start with a box, wait 2 weeks, play 2 weeks worth of games out of this box, then add your 6 packs, or even 4 packs really. 6 packs is a lot. 4 packs you could get away with and still be fine. So add your 4 to 6 packs worth for the next week, then play 2 weeks of that new set, add another 4 to 6, and then 2 weeks more. And so once you get to your 4th add-on, you will have played for about 3 months worth, and you can just call it.
And how many games are you playing in a week? Because I think
generally, I play 1 or 2. You play as many as you want. It's just the league part is we're not keeping track of stats or anything except just for giggles.
I was more asking for the time frame of you say 2 weeks, so wait 2 weeks to add more. That's about 4 games, is what you're kind of saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
2 to 4 games roughly.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way it works. For instance, my deck, the first week was just Uro was the best card, and then I had literally just a pile of just random sealed cards that were blue, and every blue and green card that was in Theros was in my deck. It just ended up being that way. And my ultimate recommendation is do not pick Ikoria as your first box. Ikoria is too strong, too good. Things like Mutate are just incredibly linear and very, very powerful, and it's just not fun. Ikoria is really fun to add to your pool, but it's not fun to start with. And because the power level of Ikoria is just levels higher than the rest of the sets if you're talking about a sealed environment. So your first deck is just going to be bad. And that's where the fun is, because you're finding all these weird cards you've never seen before that you've only seen in draft crap. You're playing with literal draft chaff here because you have to fill out 100 cards. So whatever is in there, you're going to use. And it's awesome. It's super awesome. And then the second pack you add is going to add a ton, because suddenly you're going to be like, wow, I cracked a lot of War Elf. That is better than all 30 of these cards in here. Mm-hmm. And I got a Phantasmal image, which is amazing. And I got I just cracked a Jace that I'm going to put it. I I added Eldraine into my green-blue deck, and I got an Oko. And Oko is a great draw. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The rules are still EDH rules. So it's like 100 card singleton, all the ban list stuff applies. So if you crack that Prophet of Krufix, I am sorry.
So that's something interesting because I think our league, like,
we definitely were talking. I don't know if we decided about that.
I thought we decided to go again. Like, banned cards are no longer banned.
Yeah, like,
our tentative. Our tentative plan was that banned cards were not necessarily immediately going to be banned, and then we were kind of gonna, because like the way, and we'll get into the weeds later, but like the way we started doing this was kind of like we kind of got our friends together, and then we kind of built the rules up from there because we wanted to decide where everybody was at, kind of.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll let Shivam finish about like kind of the original experience before we start talking about whatever madness
the additions and changes.
Yeah, and I think that the hybrid cool middle ground maybe even is like if you play with banned cards if you are banning cards and you open a banned card in your rare slot, you can just ignore that pack and open an additional one. I think is maybe the happy medium.
Like, remember, this is casual times, right? Like,
right.
We just want to have fun. And if you happen to like crack open a prime time, I mean, look, honestly, if I wasn't playing with the rules guys of like the people in my league are like the 4 rules committee members who are like the most orthodox EDH players you're going to find. So I think if I was playing in a league with, I don't know, you and Ben Wheeler and Tappy and Olivia and whatever, we would probably be a lot more like, you cracked a Titan, use it. It's cool. Why not? You know?
Yeah, I think and that's what we ended up doing, right? We were just like, just play with what, like, Primeval Titan's going to find you what?
Basic forest,
maybe a Field of the Dead if you're opening 2 different core sets.
Dude, the best non-basic I had in my thing was like was it Unknown Shores or whatever. No, the Theros Mazavith, that stupid Maze of Scophos or whatever. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Look, man, if I got a prime time and he's finding me a Maze of Scophos, I think that's okay. It's not like it's pulling a freaking Gaia's Cradle out. But if you have 6 Urza Saga packs and you crack open a Gaia's Cradle, God bless.
Right.
God bless.
And before we kind of go to the next things, I do want to kind of touch upon different stages of starting these things and maybe touch upon.
So I think that's basically that. I think I can basically stop there. That's like my rule summation in a nutshell. And if you crack a box that for whatever reason is old enough that doesn't have a viable legend, I think one of the patches we were saying is that you can use the card that's showing up in Commander Legends to prime. What is it? Prismatic? What's his face? The partner.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, the Prismatic Piper that can just be like, yo, pick a color, and this can be a partner to whatever legend you have, so that you can at least get some viable 2-color build. Just proxy it and throw it in there.
Okay, I think our solution was if you don't get a legend, randomize what legends are available in that set, and you get one.
And pick like 3 or whatever,
and then can select from them.
Yeah, to that point though, most of the people, I think everybody in our league picked like a fairly recent set from like the past 10 years. I don't think anybody went back further than.
I have the list. That's one of the things I did actually want to talk about was kind of deck selection, because I think that's like box selection, because I think that's one of the coolest. At this point, especially because we haven't played any games.
Yeah, we're right at the beginning.
One of the coolest parts of the whole experience, right, is like not every set, but every set is available. So you have all these different ones, but there are the frameworks, right? Like we realized, and Judge Kyle, Magic Judge.
I'm getting ready to. I'm really looking forward to never winning a game against Judge Kyle.
I just saw his pool that you tweeted out.
Yeah,
that was disgusting.
We're kicking him straight out. Except he's a mod in the Discord that we made.
Hot tip: Fate Reforged is dope.
Yeah, Fate Reforged is insane. Turns out,
and part of it is that there are 2 different cycles of gold. Bunny ears, gold, legendary creatures, right? So you have the leaders of each of the cons, which are monocolor with hybrid activation costs. So you have 3 wedge colors, and then you have the 5 elder dragons, pre-elder dragon. And so between the 2 of them, you can just get a bunch of options. Plus, the cards are insane, and there's like Ugin in that set, which is a card that's unfair.
The guy I saw, it's like he pulled a god box of Fate Reforged.
Pulled every dragon Ugin into fetch lands.
That's disgusting.
I guess like that's maybe. Well, I guess you can getting every dragon isn't as good there, right? Because there's no 5-color legend in that set, so you're not going to get all of them.
Sure, but then he'll just open up like I don't know, something with Chromat or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's so to kind of to break down at least on our league, because I have a list. I don't know, Shivam, if you have yours, but I opened up Zendikar Rising. Tappy opened up Dominaria.
I'm basic.
Ashley opened up Ravnica Allegiance. Zach opened up M20. Carson opened up Ikoria. Kyle opened up Fate Reforged. Jason opened up Journey to Nyx. Joe opened Theros Beyond Death. Michael is opening
Journey
up
to Nyx.
Journey to Nyx. No, Jason opened up War of the Spark.
Oh, he went in War of the Spark. Journey to
War
Nyx
of the
actually I
Spark
thought was a
worse than
sweet
Journey,
take.
I think.
Yeah.
He got seriously. He got a little messed up.
There's no legendary creatures, right? Oh no, there's like 5.
And there's like
so there's all the
Massacre
monocolored gods and Rolesk and Storev, and if you don't get Niv Mizzet, you lose basically. Which is why I didn't pick War of the Spark, because I knew if I didn't open my favorite Dragon Lad, I would be the saltiest.
Well, because here's the thing: like I did one of these with Loading Ready Run on one of their Friday nights, and I had pulled out for that one Ikoria, but Cameron had picked War of the Spark, and I was like, homie, all the legends of that are all
Mythic
planeswalkers.
And planeswalkers, right? Yep. Someone brought up, I think Michael was also talking about doing the planeswalkers as commanders in this, and to say like the way Brawl allows it.
We were talking about it, and then we kind of
people had already opened their boxes, so that's another option here, right? Because that does open up. For instance, Eldraine gets a lot sweeter because you have the option of like the
Kenrith twins.
Yeah,
or
I cracked open the Kenrith twins, and I was like, oh, okay, well I can't use them. But...
Part of the problem with like Eldraine though is right because when you look at it on like Scryfall, say if you go to Scryfall and you look up Eldraine, you see Corvold and Shulane and Alayla and the one other one that nobody ever played. But so that's something that you also have to consider, because it would be really cool if you could get any of those 3 color friends, but
lol. They're all just Brawl cards. They're not in the set.
They sure aren't. Because I was thinking, I'll get Corvold. This will be no, I won't.
Because Michael was like about to he even like understood the ramifications that he could only get the monocolored options, and he was like almost gonna open up Eldraine.
Is in there too, but that's basically it.
Right.
Yeah, but Grumgully is really good.
Yeah, but it's because Grumgully's at least at rare, yeah? Or is he uncommon?
Yeah, he's a rare.
He's a rare. Okay, so at
maybe.
Least,
you know what?
Either way, it's not mythic. So like, there's like more,
more likelihood there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's like the weird audible of like opening up Eldraine, expecting to lose week 1 and 2 because who cares, and then just like opening up something like Fate Reforged or something that just is like a ton of rare legends, or like Dragon Maze. Right, Dragon Maze is also not a bad one, because they have all 10
you get all the maze runners.
The maze runners at rare, so you're like guaranteed to get at least 1, if not 2.
Yeah, it turns out legends. A lot of these small sets that were just like forgotten are real good in this, because you can get real, like Dragon's Maze is like a hated set, but in this league it's fantastic. Fate Reforged was a pretty forgettable set. I mean, I loved it, but in this league, or even Dragons of Tarkir is really good.
Yep. Well,
the entire Tarkir block, man. Jeez.
It's like you want gold legends at rare, and you want a cycle of them at least. And if you can get to that in your set, you're going to have a slightly happier time. And the smaller the set is, the more likely individual cards are to show up.
You are to get one of those. Yeah. So, like, for example, our friend Ashley, who nobody knows, Kess and I started our league with, we mentioned Jason, but we got Jason Alt from Brainstorm Brewery, and then kind of the Cast crew, and then some of our friends, and then some of, like, basically just a handful of friends. We just picked good people, and we just grabbed the first, like, 10 people we found, because that's the other thing about this. If you tweet about starting one of these, you're going to get, like, 25 people in your inbox trying to join, and you cannot be friends with everybody. You have to take the first 10 people who actually commit and just do it and be mean and tell people they can't be in anymore.
You can't, because it's too easy to get screwed.
Well, so I guess that's a question. Shivam, how many people did you end up with in your first
awkward
league?
Segue, but
no, that's actually so last week because we mentioned this on the regular podcast. No, this is the regular podcast. On last week's podcast, and we got a few comments being like, "Oh, hey, can we join your league?" or something along those lines. And
we have 13 people in our league.
Okay.
We had more or less.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10.
Oh, we have 10. Okay, yeah. I was like, I thought that a good number, but
so like in mine, when I look at that, we've got Anthony Alonji with Ikoria. Ben Wheeler cracked an M20. Brian David Marshall cracked M20. Mona Curves, she got M21. Gavin Verhey got M21. Hobbs got Dominaria. Olivia picked M20. Weeks. Scott, let's see. The Weeks. Oh, Rachel Weeks. Yeah, she got RNA, Ravnica Allegiance. Scott Larrabee picked Dominaria. Toby Elliott got Ikoria. I picked Theros Beyond. Sheldon got Ikoria, and Gavin Duggan picked Fate Reforged.
And you guys started before Zendikar Rising came out. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah. So we all kind of made like a gentleman's agreement to like add Zendikar Rising from our pre-release packs that week.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But yeah, we started then, and like our goal was go until we get to Commander Legends, and then Commander Legends we'll just start a new league with Commander Legends box.
Cool. Okay.
But I think we're gonna taper out before then because our decks have kind of hit like equilibrium. You know, like you can't add more or the titration breaks.
I feel like it's kind of nice too because at the end of this thing, you get a pretty decent Commander deck.
Oh, like me and Wheeler were talking about this. Like, I actually am just gonna take this deck and turn it into a real deck because it's like 80% of the way to being really just fun.
Right. You need to cut like 4 cards and put like rare lands in there.
Like,
and then you're
put
like
a, Soul Ring or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't even need to, but like if you like, I almost want to keep these around just for this power level of like league play level. So if like people just have a random box league, like I made a box league deck out of Ikoria and I'm just leaving that as week 1 deck to just play against anybody else's week 1 deck. Because that's always going to be about the same.
BDM himself like had a comment on his Twitter where he was saying he really liked the idea that I could take, like, I have a week 1 Muldrotha deck right now because I opened up Dominaria because I'm a basic horrible, white girl and I wanted to open up Dominaria. I was really hoping I could get Joyra and just make a cruddy version of my Joyra deck and like steadily make it better by pumping every artifact set I possibly could open into it. But I drew Muldrotha instead, which is honestly probably better.
Yeah.
Which the fact that I got a really good synergistic 3-color legend is better than my other options says a lot about who I am as a Commander player. But that I digress. But BDM said that when I posted on Twitter that he was really excited that I was going to start and that I should, let him know what level my deck is and maybe we could get a game in as long as
you can like
if I say
track.
that I have a week 3 deck, he can take a week 3 deck that he has or a deck, he can construct a deck at week 3 level or whatever.
The upside of it.
And that's a pretty that's a pretty discrete power level bumper that you have. I mean, there's some luck involved, obviously, but there's always luck in Magic. You can open up a sealed deck and have the nuts, or you can open up a sealed deck and be like, well, I'm barely going to make playables, but that guy could still die to land screw, I guess.
Right.
And the thing is, because you're adding a new expansion every time, it is very easy for you, if you keep track of what week you added an expansion, to deconstruct. And like for me, I've just got a pile of the cards I pulled out and like just set aside in this. Like I got a fat pack box and I've just been using that for the league for my chaff and for my extra cards to build my pool with. And it's like, oh, I can hella just back up my deck to like any week you want and be able to like run it just as fine. And that's really cool. Actually, I like that a lot.
And so people that are interested, I did actually remember. So the episode that BDM was on of our stream, you can watch it on YouTube right now, is he actually played his boxing league deck because one of our guests came in and it was Davey, Coach Davey, who was on the like, I am here for casual play. I have nothing that is above this level. And BDM was like, well, the closest thing I have to that power level is this pre-con deck, so I guess we're going there. And so he played that, and then they played that, and I played like a all theft effects, threaten all the time crimes deck. But it was really fun. It was really cool watching like he like pulled off insane combos even with cards he opened that would normally be limited play, like with the dowsing, the 5-mana Merfolk that like rebuys a spell and then he can blink it with another card that he has.
Oh my god, dude, BDM's deck is gross. His deck is so disgusting. But like BDM and Wheeler, I think, are like the two who had like the most nasty decks because Wheeler has an Omnath deck. He got Omnath from M20, so that's 3-color Omnath.
Yep.
And his Omnath got a Fertilid edition from Ikoria or whatever it was. Omnath plus Fertilid is an almost like 2-mana rampant growth that draws you a card. It is disgusting. And he was just like, I'll ramp you and draw a card. Who cares? I've got like 40 million mana. You can have a land. You can have a land. And I'm like, what do you do? And it was like recursion. And I mean, that's the thing I love about this because it reminds me of old school EDH. As in like the discovery is there, like the being able to like, okay, look, this is the pile of crap that I have to work with. I guess I got to figure out how to make it work. And then you're like, whoa, there's synergies here I didn't even think about because I would never play these cards in normal EDH decks.
And not only do you not play these cards in normal EDH decks, but you don't play these cards against the cards you're playing them against. So we, so far, most of us have built our decks now. We, our league technically starts tomorrow because nobody could quite get all their hands out of the boxes because COVID and,
Sure.
etc. But we played an exhibition match. Yay, look at you!
Ready.
We played an exhibition match on Sunday. And it was Zach opened up Golos from M20 because he luck-sacked into that. Carson opened up the
5 color legends in every set are really helpful.
Yes. Carson opened up the Cleric in Zendikar. I don't know what any of the Zendikar cards are because I haven't played them. I opened up
Aura.
That's like the box hopper, wasn't it?
But they're already they're also in the set. This is the first set they didn't do box toppers.
It's
that were not
something in the
within
set because he didn't get the box topper. I opened Muldrotha because I'm horrible. And then Ashley, poor Ashley, went with Ravnica Allegiance because she wanted all the shocklands and the mana fixing because she's playing the long game. But the only 2 legends she opened were Lavinia and Teyza. And she literally didn't have enough black cards to run Teyza. So she's running Lavinia with every flyer she has and every counterspell she has and no other win conditions. Because I love Ashley. She's a great sport. But, so, she's playing Lavinia, and Zach is playing Golos, which is kind of dope. And so I'm playing Muldrotha, which Muldrotha does say you cast from the graveyard. So Ashley was originally like, haha, Lavinia is going to shut down Sydney. And I was like, oh no, I don't know much about judging and things, but I know that this one reads this way because I looked at it the one time and remember the beginning.
Yeah, so this is Lavinia Azorius Renegade, which is the one that each opponent cannot cast non-creature spells with a converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. When an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. She is the fun police.
Yes, she is literally the fun place. However, I was thinking I was totally in the clear with Muldrotha. However, I was super stoked because I opened a Mox Amber. Guess what costs 0 in my deck?
Oh no.
So that happened. However, I was also running Mishra's Self-Replicator, which every time you cast a historic spell, you can pay an amount of mana, I think it's 2, and you can copy Mishra's Self-Replicator. It's a 2/2 artifact. Technically, Mox Amber still gets cast. So once Mox Amber is in my graveyard, I could just cast it if Muldrotha was out and make, nanobots. So there was a point at which I had like 12 self-replicating 2/2s on my board.
Oh my god, and it costs nothing to cast.
It costs nothing to cast in Muldrotha.
That's disgusting.
It was hilarious. I mean, Zach still won because Golos and garbage. But, however, we had the nanobot moment, and it was fantastic. It was super cool.
And that's a card you would literally never play.
It was very much kind of one of those scenarios of, it was 15 years ago at the local game store when everyone is playing a 99-card pile. And that is so indicative of, what happened, where we literally had to, get Judge Kyle and be like, hey, does this work? Does this work the way that I want to? And he was also like, okay, so at the detriment of everyone but Sydney on this table, yes, the nanobots will just keep spawning. You will have the black goo going on, please make them. So yeah, it's fun. The game, I will say, and I think this was one of the things that we wanted to bring up. The game did take 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, these games are going to take I have not had a game go under 3 yet.
The problem is everyone has these cool synergies and these cool pockets of really good stuff, but nobody has that haymaker win condition unless somebody
suck. Straight up.
But the problem is the decks don't suck because they do stuff, but they just kind of do stuff enough not to die. So it's one of those things of when you're picking your people, pick people that you will want to be at a table, whether it's webcam or if you get lucky enough to have enough Magic players in person that you can safely see. I have a little quarantine of 10 people and 90% of them are Magic players. So we're also going to do a paper version of this and I will report back on that later. I'm really excited about that. But pick people that you are willing to spend 2.5 hours with. This is the textbook example of EDH is the vessel through which you are having like a 2.5 hour hangout. This is not about winning. This is not, I mean, in some level it is about showing off your deck and doing stuff, but first and foremost,
this is literally just finding a reason to hang out with your buddies.
Precisely.
And I think there's also like, because I don't know if this happens to the two of you, but my Commander games also often last just anyways 3 hours long for some reason. So like literally the stream we did yesterday was like
my mentions
4.5
right
hours
now
long.
My game lasts too long.
Yeah. Like and it's not like I killed one of my opponents middle of the game because I threw a giant crab at them, but then I couldn't kill the other two people. And Charlotte and me were just like from just playing until 11 o'clock at night. So that was fun. People left. But so like
part of that
is content, right? Like when you are making something on stream, you have to walk through
it's gonna go a little bit longer, but
because you have to like
but
walk
also
through
it's
stuff.
just like, for instance, in my deck I got an enigmatic incarnation, which is like the enchantment birthing pod, right? And I was like, okay, well, look, the only good legend I pulled out, I either got Clothis, Galia, the centaur or the satyr chick, or Uro. And I was like, I have yet to get to play Uro. I'm going to give Uro a shot.
Commanders.
So Uro plus like, loathsome Catoblepus and whatever garbage. But I got a Nessian board, the 10-4, like the big pig, right? And so you know what's good about a 5 mana big pig is that you can kill a 4 mana enchantment to get it. So like I had Arasta the web chick, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to throw you...
the web chick. I believe that's the official name. I love it. I love it.
Look, man, I just threw her into the incarnation, and I pull out Big Pig, and then I stick a bunch of, like the crappy artifact equipment that, like, gives you the Icarus wings that, like, gives you flying, and you can sacrifice it to make something unblockable, whatever. And I'm like, dude, this is, like, Sealed's greatest hits of garbage, but... having a 10-4 flying pig coming at you with like a bunch of bumps from being like an enchantment and all these constellation triggers going off, it feels really good. Right. It feels really, really cool.
And that is one thing I would say based on watching people play this and then even my own is it's really important for people building their decks while they're building them to think of like evasion more, or like, are you able to do damage to every player all at once, or do you have some way to win? Because it's not like regular Commander where you can be like, okay, I have like a pocket infinite combo that if like we're 3 hours in and we just need the end of the game, I can go find and kill everyone, or like I know I'm going to be building in like a Cathar's Crusade enough like creatures in play that they're all going to be 30/30s and going to win. Like there's no way to guarantee being able to break board stalls, which will happen. So evasion,
because there won't be board wipes either. Board wipes are gonna be pretty rare.
Yes.
In the land of the blind, the one with the 17 mana board wipe is king, is all I'm saying.
Listen, Slyn Voda is great from Dominaria, by the way, turns out.
You know what is like the most busted card in this? Like there's one, was it like Wave of Tears or something like that from
the one with Muyan Ling on it. Yeah, because you can like return everybody's stuff, and if you return 10 permanents, you get to put one down free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that card, Flood of Tears.
Thank you.
Real gross.
Close enough.
It is like, that is like just Cyclonic Rift levels of just game ending.
I'm really excited that I pulled one of these. Ondu inversion. I am here for my capabilities to either play it as a land or wipe the board. I am playing 58 lands, 20 of which are flip lands. I'm very like actually
someone in the Discord was like, yeah, man, one of my friends went mono black because he picked Legions as a set and got Phage and is like 74 swamps and whatever black card you got and Phage the Untouchable because my God, I'm playing Phage. And I'm like, God bless my dude. God bless.
But again, like there is something that is just so incredibly charming about that. Because in what other like world are you going to be playing? Like I love the fact that in 2020 there is a person playing like 2/3 lands in their commander deck just because they want to play this cool like legend. When earlier Kess and I couldn't go on Twitter without our mentions being filled with people debating whether you should play 34 lands or 37. And there's some dude out there playing 60.
74 lands.
By the way, for all those on the internet who are going to get upset about it, my Muldrotha deck is playing 34 lands, just so you know.
Dude, here's the limitation that I got. My green-blue land is playing 30 lands because that's how many lands I cracked out of my box. And that's
so I will say I'm disappointed in myself, and I'm like really, really hoping in the next 6 packs I open a swamp. I am playing exactly 1 swamp above lands I opened in my box. Everything else is box appropriate.
I was like, you know what, man? In for a penny, in for a pound.
No, I appreciate
and I love
that.
these Theros lands, so I'm like, screw it. We're just gonna. This is the game.
You just
this is the game.
next week open up Zendikar Rising and then just like supplement some of those land slots with with spells.
Just add all the MDFCs from the next one.
But like, I mean, think about it, dude. There's some just banana stuff you can. Like, there's some interset synergies that we just forget about after pre-release that you never think about again.
Right.
Like, I got Protean Thaumaturge, which is the Constellation clone. That card is hella good when you're playing just a lot of enchantments or whatever, right? Like, but I don't know, man. This is I've said it multiple times. EDH Boxing League is the most fun I've had playing EDH in years. Honest to God. This just feels pure. It feels silly. It has like, there's no expectation because we're all starting with the piles of crap. I mean, now we're getting down to it. Like the last game I played, I had 2 draw 7 effects because I had Midnight Clock go off. And then I had like Garrick's Rising or whatever from Eldrazi that just gave from Eldrazi from Eldraine that gives me like a crap ton of cards. And okay, it's getting a little polished now, but those first 2 or 3 weeks when you're just sitting here staring at like a handful of like just bottom feeder like uncommons and commons that you're like, look, it's in my colors. That feels so good.
Well,
it's so good.
And even like to talk on the other side of that coin, the competitive one, kind of going back to what we were saying before, like something that maybe a chunk of our listeners have always had with Commander as an issue is just like those power level concerns, right? Like I want to try to win, right? I want to try to do the best that I possibly can, but like I don't have a way to, because this is Ben's issue and it's why he's been drawn to CDH, which is like I don't want to feel bad for like playing something more powerful than my opponents are playing because I had no way to communicate very well what's going on. And as we just mentioned, the fact that like you're on week 2, I'm on week 2. We have the exact same amount of packs available to us, so we can try our hardest if we want, if that's the kind of time we're trying to have. And there's none of those like feel bad, this was unfair, how did you get Gaia's Cradle? I've been playing since last September. That's not, or whatever.
Sure.
And so you have a little bit more of that like not the CDH, no feel bad, everyone's trying to murder each other all the time, but at the power level that's a little less like, oh, everyone's just tutoring for Thassa's Oracle and putting into play. And this is like a variety of gameplay and brewing like, that's available.
What I think you're getting at is like at the CEDH level of like everyone playing in the Spike Feeders Discord, they all know what they're about. They all know going in that they are playing at that level. However, that kind of magic isn't accessible to everyone. Whereas going out and buying a single $100 box because Guilds of Ravnica was on sale for $70, like this might not be this. I'm not trying to be obnoxious, but this was just on the couch behind me. But like this was the $70 box that my LGS had, or in this case, like whatever. I don't care where you get it, but like, eBay or whatever.
Or
this was the box that I had because it was $20 cheaper than Dominaria. But like I'm still gonna get a halfway decent deck, and everyone's kind of gonna be on the same level versus like me being able to spend $125 on an EDH pre-con plus some upgrades, and then like Sydney showing up with my, $1,800 Joyro deck that wins on turn 2 because I'm a horrible person. Like that's very different.
Intent matters a lot with Commander, but also like the reason the power level conversation is such a dramatic conversation within the community, I think, is because intent matters, but then also power level matters within intent. And if I have I want to have a good time intent, but my deck is so many tiers better than yours, then I'm just going to feel bad throughout the game. And this prevents that, but it allows you to try new things. You don't have to do the exact same thing every time because you've built this tuned list. It's, I opened a box. How do I make this pile of Legions cards work in a Commander setting?
Well, I think part of the problem with like, and again, this whole podcast isn't necessarily about the power level discussion, and that's on purpose because we just want to have fun and not talk about this. But like,
I don't want to talk about work.
The one thing that I will say about like as a scientist, part of the reason that I think the power level discussion is a problem is because we refer to the power level discussion as numbers but they're not really numbers, they're words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to quantify words into numbers. That's like a problem that every scientific discipline has. If you ever want to get into a thing.
A is 1, B is 2, C is 3,
No, that's
D
not
is
how
4.
Here's the thing.
But this is a great...
Go.
This is a great way to do that because you can actually set rules and you set parameters. It's not just like, because if I say we're just playing decks that are going to have fun, to me that means one thing, to Kess that means one thing, and to Shivam that means an entirely different thing, even though we all said the same words and we all think we mean the same thing. However, if what I say is we're all going to get a box, we are going to open 32, 36, how many packs are in a box? I don't even know. That's how casual and bad I am. But anyway, we're going to open the packs in a box. And we're going to make a thing out of them. And if you're Shivam and you want to try hard, you can only use the lands that you get in the box for style.
It worked out. And it was pretty. It's like consistency matters.
It just takes away that kind of like misinterpretation of intent versus interpretation. There's none of that. It's literally, this is what it is.
And plus, the thing is, if given the way Magic has been designed in the past, let's say, decade or so, standard aside, the limited environments have all been very well balanced and very, like, at least even keeled enough, with the exception of, like, Ikoria. And even Ikoria in an Ikoria box league is just fine. But, like, just all the other sets are roughly at a power level where if I have a box of Theros and you have a box of like War of the Spark or M20 or M15 or whatever, they're roughly going to be about the same level with the parity between chaff and bombs in your deck. And given if you have like a legend or whatever, like I have Uro. Uro is obviously an absurdly powerful card. In my deck, Uro is fine. It's not even the most powerful card in my deck. It's a good card, but like because of the power level is cranked so far down, like one of the problems of EDH is the power level is not necessarily any individual card. It is the summation of all the cards together.
Mm-hmm.
And like if Uro is like, or if, you know, if I'm fetching for like super powerful lands, then I'm going to have a super powerful deck. But when like my lands are limited to being things like Maze of Scophos or like, you know, whatever random, like, you know, like the best fixing is like, you know, your Evolving Wilds type of crap. Yeah. Okay, look, it's going to be fine. Like I was so excited when I cracked open a pack and I found one blue-green game land just because I was like, oh my God, I finally have a dual colored land. But the power levels are roughly at parity, so you can at least expect that somebody's going to have some crazy blowout bomb like Baneslayer Angel crap, but for the most part you're going to be running just crap against crap, and that's fine.
Well, and it's not even crap, because one of the things that was really interesting is you forgot how many rares.
Okay, Locum Catablepa sucks in EDH. Just telling you.
The amount of, like, you forget how many rares are in a box. Like, I haven't opened up just a box straight up to, like, have a separate thing. So it's like, oh, there's, like, I'm going to have mostly cards that I would consider constructed playable to some extent at some level somewhere in this. Like, cutting cards was still difficult. It wasn't like, oh, I only get to play, okay, there's only exactly 60 good cards in this box anyways. And
dude, I seriously had like 3 cards that I didn't add from all the blue and green cards.
Well, that's so that I mean, like the 2-color legends versus 3 is difficult. I also think that, like, speaking of Ravnica Allegiance, I think the Ravnica sets are all going to be specifically bad for this.
Yes,
because so many of the cards are gold and can't be within the other ones, and you have to you have to just get lucky and open the Azorius box or the Rakdos box. Otherwise, like, you're like, set's not going to tie together.
When I was setting up my box, and I was really keen on trying to do Ravnica Allegiance because I really wanted to play Simic. And what I realized was, exactly what you just said. A, you're not going to guaranteed get the legend you need.
Yep.
B, the cards in there are, the monocolored slices are very small. All the cards are multicolored or hybrid. And hybrid doesn't work the way you think it. And so that's a real limitation you have to consider. And so, like, you really want to very carefully look at the boxes you pick for your start, because the fun of this is entirely dependent on how fun your base box is. If you don't like the mechanics of that set, don't pick it as your base box.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for me, I love Constellation, so I was super excited to pick Theros as my starting deck. I would have happily picked, like, you know, M20, M21 are fantastic sets because they've got really great multicolor legends. Elementals is a really fun sub-theme. Dominaria, I felt, was a little easy mode.
Yeah.
Just because, I've got 800 legends to choose from.
Well, and also, too, Dominaria is like every card in Dominaria is aggressively playable, right?
Yeah, right? You can build a Flying Foot deck and it's amazing.
I had to work really hard to cut cards. I'm not excusing myself, but part of the reason why I picked Dominaria is because the week prior to us deciding that we were going to do this, we did a little in-person draft again because my COVID team is 90% Magic players, so we were able to find 7 people and sit down in a draft, which is amazing. Not to flex on anybody, but like it was great. I have 6 boxes of sealed Dominaria because I saved every single one of them because I refused to crack them for no value because Dominaria is the best draft set ever.
Amen.
But so what I did is I had 3/4 of a box of Dominaria opened, but everybody gave me back their draft cards because nobody wanted to keep the cards. So I was like, I asked my pod, I was like, does anybody care if I just use the rest of this box? Because like I'm not going to be able to use these other 14 packs that are just hanging out here.
Right.
Right. And I didn't even know like half of there was some adult.
I think Dominic. I mean, you're not the only one to have picked it. I think that's like
no. I'm just saying,
mode,
but like that was the context for like other.
No, it's also a really fun set.
Because then I also got like that much more use out of those other packs too.
That is exactly the right thing to do. Like whenever people are like, "Yo, dude, I don't want to buy a brand new box just for this," I'm like, "Okay, well." When I was building my Ikoria one, I had an Ikoria box that I had drafted and I'd cracked for random reasons. And I just built a deck out of that because I took all those cards afterwards and I put them in a long box and called it a day. That is literally an open box worth of cards. As long as you have 36 pack equivalents of a card, nobody's going to fault you if you don't crack a brand new box. If you like for me, my Theros box was already in my long boxes, but I knew exactly where it was because I'm bad at organizing. So I just left the packs as I would crack them. And so they were all in there. So I was able to just do that. And it worked out. The fun of this is you don't even need to have like you don't need a full box. You could even do like a fat pack's worth. That's harder, but like if you have like a handful of pre-release kits sitting around, you could even build out of that. A box helps you because you have enough to be able to get like a couple of decks worth of pools out of there. But I think that this is a really easy and flexible way to play. And it's persistent and it's EDH, so you've got that already down-tempo kind of vibe. And again, it's like easy to deconstruct or construct forward. Like if you're on week 5 and I'm on week 3, it's not hard for me to crack a couple of packs and just upgrade to the next 2 weeks. I mean, it's cool. I love how modular this is that you can just crank the dial backwards or forwards and move your deck to match anybody else.
Well, and I like, too, the fact that you can kind of get the right group of people together so that everyone's playing at the same, like, we can decide, like, how many games do we have time to play in 2 weeks or in a week or whatever. And this was all stuff that we discussed because, again, I made the mistake of posting on Twitter that I was interested in this, and 90 people asked if they could be in my pod, but one of the people who asked if they could be in my pod was Alex Kessler, and Alex is one of my favorite people on the internet, so naturally I was like, yes, I pick Alex, we'll let him in, and then we'll figure it out later. And again, like Jason Alt randomly asked because somehow no one had invited Jason Alt to a boxing league before I did, so I was like, yes, we love you, please come here.
He has the same problem that actually Shivam has, where I'm always like, you have a child, so inviting you to things is hard. Yeah.
Like it's really hard to do that. That's why I can only play like really 1 game a week or something, just because that's the time I can carve out to do this. And fine, that's fair. And you I mean,
and you can pick like within your league how many games you want to play. You can pick how many packs each week you want to open. Like, like 6 packs, depending on the price of the pack, can get a little expensive. So if you want to keep the price point down a little bit, make it only 3 packs or make it only packs that are like below $5 each, or like, because like sometimes like I'm kind of debating just buying a bunch of Lorwyn packs because that's my favorite set and I don't have a reason to open them otherwise.
I'm not saying that I bought Lorwyn and Morningtide packs to do this, but I definitely just got a box of Morningtide and Lorwyn packs for this.
It would have been really hard. So like I had just like bought a box of Zendikar Rising the day that you were like, hey, I'm trying to do this, and I tweeted at it. And
I was like, please come here.
But if I had not, and I was jumping into this, it would have been really hard for me not to like buy some like go for an older set that like I'm super nostalgic for, right? Like, or even just like I have the frustrating thing is before I even opened it, I was like, we have all of these from when Ben and me were like hosting a bunch of chaos drafts before mystery boosties existed, we have like all of these random sets. So I have like an entire like 2 packs per all of both Mirrodin blocks. Just like can't use them for anything, but I have that full set, and I have like a bunch of these other things. I was like, and I have a stack of I think it's 29 Shadows over Innistrad packs that I was like, it was the winnings from the pre-release, and it was like the year I decided to never open packs again. And so I just have had them in a box, and I was like, I can't, I don't have the 7 other ones. And to find these, I'm too, like, I want to open this box now. So I just opened the Zendikar Rising one, but I'm stoked to do this again just to see like what, and there's some affordable ones. Like Khans of Tarkir is super cheap for for what it is, right? The fact that you're opening fetch lands and it's
basically anything post what? Return
RTR,
to Ravnica,
yeah.
they changed the print release, because even a Return to Ravnica box is like
super
125. It's not expensive.
It's up to RTR. Was like extremely worthwhile to hold on to boxes, like Innistrad and like Rise of Eldrazi being great examples of like within a year and a half of them no longer being in standard, they like tripled in price.
Yep.
And so then starting with RTR and then through Khans block, people were just hoarding boxes. And that actually slowed down after that, because then like after Khans it wasn't ever worth anything. They're like, oh, this is not worth it. And so like probably will happen in waves, but specifically that era.
My recommendation though is like there's a lot of really good boxes of sets that like pick a nostalgic set. That's fantastic. Pick a set you love to play draft or sealed with. It's a great way to start. B, pick one of those sets that was a middle set that you only got like 1 or 2 reps out of, like, Born of the Gods, Fate Reforged, Aether Revolt, something like that was just totally like it was fun, but you didn't get your time with it. Don't pick sets, and I think these are like good places to start, because a lot of these mid-tier sets and stuff have really cool legends in them, and make sure that there's at least enough chance of you cracking a 2 or 3 color legend in order to make it worth your time. Don't bank on that one Niv Mizzet coming out of the box, because he ain't coming. But the things that I recommend you staying away from, are hyper tribal sets. Don't play your Ixalans. Ixalan is going to be fun for the first week. Like a full box Ixalan or full box whatever Ixalan 2 was. That's great. Ixalan. Like that'll be a really cohesive set, kind of. Ixalan Sealed sucked though, but
Rivals was fun. But I digress.
Yeah, but that being notwithstanding, you're not going to be able to make your dinosaur tribal deck work literally ever again.
Yeah, you have to do like Ikoria, and then you maybe could do M20 or M19, whichever one had some of the. And then you're like, for instance,
I pick Legions as one of my sets just because I love old timey cards. And Legions has like got a lot of cool morphs in it, but the main drive of Legions was that every card was a creature, and every creature was tribal based. Mm-hmm. And if you're not playing elves or orcs, or elves or goblins or whatever the 5 tribes in there were, like my deck is an enchantment deck. It's not a tribal deck, so I can't get like most of the benefit of all the cool cards that I cracked open. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
it almost has the same problem that like the Ravnica guilds, and I think Dragon Maze and War of the Spark are a different conversation, but the classic Ravnica has where you're siloed, and so
don't pick any of the original Ravnica block. They're totally worthless
because you're just. But sorry.
Yeah, for people who don't know, like only certain guilds show up in each Ravnica set, and. Yeah, so
and most of them are gold. So like if you get like what happened to Ashley, where she got a really good black-white legend, but only blue-white cards, and so like they're just you because of the way that the set is made to be drafted and why they're such great draft formats, they're going to be pretty bad for this. And I think tribal is similar, and then added to the layer of like your deck also has a problem meshing with other sets, and that's true with all parasitic mechanics, right? Like the Kamigawa is going to be hard because you're like arcane spells just aren't going to matter, and like
you'll have the legends, but
spirits have maybe extended a little bit better because you could like do Innistrad and just try going for the spirit side, but there's like ninjutsu and samurai stuff just won't work. And then what's another really good? Like anything with slivers, you're just gonna have to hunt down sliver sets.
Yeah, seriously, sliver sets real good together.
But yeah, it's you want to find like versatile. It's actually one of the reasons I think that if you're going to do a gold block, going after the 3 color ones, going after Ikoria or Khans block or even maybe Shards of Alara, though I don't quote me on that one because I've never.
Shards doesn't really have legends in it is the problem. Shards got a lot of random gold stuff. I think Shards would be a great addition set, or any of the Alara block ones. They're great because you're gonna get like cool random shards if you're in whatever shard you need to be in. But
yeah, it's the other two because the way, and I think actually it's what happened because they learned the lesson on shards in Shards block is like to make a limited format work in 3 colors, you have to have a lot of solutions to that problem, which means fixing, or what they did in Cons block, which is like half the cards are morph cards, so you can always pay them for colorless, and
well, you can't put them in your deck.
Well, sure,
yeah, but that's the problem.
But like they're built within the frameworks of the legends that should exist there, right? Like,
sure.
and that's one of the reasons Fate Reforged is so terrifying is like they have legends for each of those colors at rare, but it's
this is also one of the reasons why it's very important to not use. Like, I realize that there's a lot of temptation to go like, I'm going to play Modern Masters, or I'm going to play like Battle Bond or Conspiracy. Yeah. But there's going to be those sets were like designed to be like the greatest hits of a certain subset of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be so strong that it's not going to be very fun.
Well, and I don't think we talked about this earlier, but in the original, I think there's a Star City Games article where Sheldon kind of lays out the basics of the rules, correct?
Yeah.
And I don't know, Michael, somebody
hopefully
who actually does work can probably link it. Yes. But that is one of the considerations of we had that discussion when we were starting. Sheldon's original article suggests not to include any of those, which is what Shivam's getting at. And we had that discussion when we were starting because I have 2 boxes of Misty Boosties that have my name on them. And they're currently sealed.
I have like an Ultimate Boosters box right over there and a Modern Horizons
I have an Ultimate Masters box and 2 Modern Masters boxes. I have an Unstable box, 2 Unstable boxes.
Also, Unstable... It's a main set. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it unstable.
Just draft it with your friends. It's a great draft.
Play it the way it's meant to be played.
And so that's kind of like the discussion that we had, where I think I think there could be a cool version of this where everybody gets to start with a weird set, right? Like you get to pick whether you want to start with Modern Masters or Ultimate Masters or Mystery Boosters or whatever. And then from that, you have to add other stuff. I think that could be really cool. But again, it's really important. It kind of drives home, honestly, that like rule 0 issue of Commander, right? Is everybody has to be on the same page in this edition specifically, because there's a very high and very specific monetary cost to starting with a box of Guilds of Ravnica versus starting with a Misty Boosty or an Ultimate Masters or a Modern Masters box. Anything like that.
Double Masters.
I think it'd be fun. I think it would be fun, but it's totally a different animal at that point.
One of the ideas I think I proposed and had I kind of got it from, we've never done this in the way we play fantasy football at the office, but it is other ways that people play this. I know I'm bringing football. This is the only way I know how to talk about it.
This is kind of a fantasy football of EDH, though, actually. That's a pretty decent... Yeah,
it's what one of the ways to do is you have like price caps, right? Like you can only have so many, and that's how like real sports works. Apparently, I don't know anything about.
I mean, sort of, but
kind of. Baseball, maybe. This is the extent of knowledge I have about baseball. But the point is SRP budgets for additional packs. So not necessarily how much it costs actually, because because if people already own it, it's fine. But like a standard sets are $4 normally at release, and a
Master sets are like 8 to 20.
8 to 20, depending on which year we're talking about. But then the cards that they put in those sets, other than Modern Masters 1, were planned around those cost requirements, right? So they've the SRP dictated what good stuff was in the pack. And so the kind of statement I said is like, okay, so you have 4 times 6, which is 24, hopefully, $24 of SRP available to you, and then you can either buy 6 packs.
You can buy 1 collector's booster of Zendikar Rising,
right?
Or you can buy 6 packs of M20,
right? And like those 2 or 3 Modern Horizon packs that you get out of that $24 is going to have really good, powerful things in it.
Yep.
Or you can get 6 packs of Ikoria, which will probably be better. So it leads people away from doing those, but if you want to, you can. And
let me tell you guys, don't undervalue the strength of like just bread and butter cards that you would never think about. Like your Mono Leaks and your Lana War Elves in these sets are absurd.
You would be so surprised at how much a black kill spell is worth.
Oh my god!
In Boxing League,
or like
your standard, like set specific, whatever your black instant or sorcery speed kill spell for between 3 and 5 mana, it's gonna be worth just
yes. And like all of those like random colorless like things that you're like, oh, this fetches me a land, but it comes into play tapped and it does some garbage. Like
so
Wandering
valuable.
Twig is like worth its weight in gold. You know, or whatever the hell that card.
Yeah.
So if money was no object, which box would you start with? And then what would your second addition to that box be? Which set would your 6-packs be from? And within real standard sets. So not like there had to have been 15 cards in the pack.
Yeah.
We can't
just pick like Eternal Masters
or like Beta.
Sure.
Which you don't want. All the cards are bad.
You really want to be playing with like Grey Ogre? Come on.
They're all gold card, or they're all like gold cards and broken. So like you don't get to like move them later. You have to destroy these. No trying to meta game for value.
Yeah, let's see.
Actually, I know. I hate myself for this, but I know exactly what I would pick.
You go, because I think Shivam's still thinking.
I would pick Avacyn Restored, because Hexproof is busted, and I hate my friends.
Oh my god, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just really uncool.
What are the legends in it? I guess...
It's
the
the
Angels.
3 Angels and Avacyn.
And Grizzlebrand.
Other stuff. Is Geist in there?
No, he's an Innistrad.
No,
so I would choose Innistrad. I would choose
honestly,
Innistrad.
My original thought was original Innistrad, and then I was like,
Grimgreen, of course.
Hexproof is dumb.
Yeah, so
I think maybe Avacyn. I'm sure somebody smarter than me in the comments is going to tell me that original Innistrad would be better. But I think maybe just a flying Hexproof commander. Like if you pull Sigarda, do you just win?
She's real good.
Butcher's Cleaver and Invisible
Stalker.
Stuff
on Sigarda.
No, that's what I'm battling my Innistrad block versus Sydney's Innistrad block, and I'm gonna win.
Oh, dude, Invisible Man plus the Butcher's Cleaver is gonna walk right through it.
That's what I think. Like maybe.
Well, but that's Innistrad.
Invisible Stalker is Innistrad, yeah. So, I think maybe or otherwise. My other option would maybe just be New Phyrexia, because Infect might just be busted.
You get a Praetor. And
Where
is Glissa?
Gross.
What?
Where is Glissa?
Glissa the Praetor? She was in New Phyrexia.
Yeah.
New Phyrexia or Besieged. I think it might be Mirrored and Besieged.
It might be Mirrored and Besieged. Either way, those...
I'm just still trying to think about like the set I would want. I would probably want like... Because like I'm thinking, oh yeah, what additional set would you pack into that?
I
mean,
if I went for, but okay,
I would put Amonkhet would be my second. After I would Innistrad Amonkhet, because you can use Cycling and Aftermath alongside all the flashback spells you have.
Sure.
Or you pick Amonkhet Shadowmoor and you get all the -1/-1s.
That's another good one. Amonkhet's a really good starter set, right? That was another one that I had like. I have 17 Amonkhet packs.
Amonkhet was one of the ones I was thinking about.
Part of the problem here is that like, in theory, you open your box, you get to see what legend you pick, and then you could go into your next box.
Well, Amonkhet I think does have good legendaries.
It does.
It's got Kemet, it's got Hapatra, it's got
Hapatra.
Because it has a rare allied color cycle. So you have you have 3. You have Hapatra, Temet, and Neheb, and then you have all of the gods.
Yeah, and all of them are good, right? Like
yeah.
The only problem with the gods is all the gods are monocolored, which is a little bit rough.
I think we also looked at Hour of Devastation when me and Mike were thinking of what he could do. And Hour of Devastation, if you get one of the mythic, the problem is you can get wrecked, and you can only get Jajeru with eyes open, and then that's the only thing you have available. Oof. But if you can either dodge Jajeru or get any of the mythic legendaries, you have like Neheb, Mono Red, the Scarab God, the Scorpion God, the Locust God, and then you have Razaketh and Unesh. But like, if you can get any of the gods, you're in such a good position.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
Like, I guess the set I would probably want to pick would probably be M19. Honestly.
Sure.
Because M19 had the new Elder Dragons. I'm a sucker for Elder Dragons.
Well, honestly, if you open Vivian is like a fantastic utility walker. She does everything. Oh god,
she's great. She's super good. But like, I really want to grab like Palladium Moors or like Arcades or any of these guys.
I might still be on Avacyn. Like, I'm.
So you wouldn't pick Lorwyn?
But like you asked me what was
object.
Good. No. If it was
what would you want to love to play? That like.
Oh well, then it would be any set from Lorwyn, because that's my favorite.
Lorwyn, so I don't want to confuse myself when I'm playing though, because like Lorwyn. I mean, okay, if I was going to pick one though, I think I might actually. Here's the left wing, the left field shot. I would go for Oath. Oath of the Gatewatch, which is
That's
like
dope.
one of my least favorite sets of all time. However,
Get wastes.
Oath of the Gatewatch has Ailey Eternal Pilgrim, which is one of the funnest freaking legends like ever. And there was
Talk
a
about
whole
utility commander too. Yeah.
dude, like being able to sacrifice things and get life, and like there's a really good black-white life gain deck in that set.
Yep.
And just I think if you could do so much fun.
I smashed face against Olivia last night with Eiley, actually last night.
I think you do get like a good. There's like a good argument to pick a small set, anyways.
Yes.
Because like you have a better, especially ones that have good legendary gold creatures, because you just have a higher chance of getting the ones you want.
Yeah.
Because there's like in a box of that's why the Jace lottery existed, right? Like to get a mythic you want in a large set, it is like 50-50 or less than 50-50 a box. It's like 33% of boxes will have each mythic in it. So if you get a case, you're likely to get 2 of each. If you buy a box of a small set, though, it's like 60-40, which is why World Wake boxes are so expensive, because no one let them sit on the shelves, because everyone in Magic is a degenerate gambler and would just like open up World Wake boxes, because if you opened up a Jace, it was worth more than the box. So you were able to like make $40 per box you bought. Just a big reminder for people listening, we're in the middle, we're going to do some shout outs. Please follow us on Twitter. Please, if you're watching this video, like and subscribe. I would love to get your comments on which set you would pick, why'd you pick it, which packs you would start adding, all of those things. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think the best set to add is, since that's what we're talking about. Also, would love to just like hear your thoughts, and please like, subscribe, all those things. If you're on podcast,
you know what
follow.
set is really, really good to add? Apocalypse. Apocalypse was an old school enemy colored set. It had the enemy colored pain lands in it, but it also had things like Vindicate, Yavamaya's Embrace, which is like, the control magic that also gives you things. Pernicious Deed. Like, it was full of incredibly, really, really good utility cards like Goblin Trenches. Oh, man. And Chromat, one of the great 5-color legendaries back before things were good.
And then last but not least, thank you, patrons. Thank you guys so much. Big gigs out to all of you. I'm going to take a drink. And thank you to the Nobles of House Modern. You guys are also the dopest, and are super stoked that you guys are contributing every way you do this week. For those who don't know, on our Patreon, we do this whole unedited version of the podcast. So we had a whole conversation at the beginning of this about what the best pizza toppings are, and how terrible bell peppers are, or how great they are, depending on who you're talking to in the class. You have to go to Patreon to find out who said what. And we do that every week. So it's a big raw feed. You get all the swear words that we accidentally throw in there. And
mostly me.
So definitely check that out. And then you get access to our Discord and all those good things. And then also follow us on Twitter. I am at Kess Wiley, but where can the people find the two of you?
Invasion Block. Because, like, dude, Invasion would be such a good set. You got the old Dragon Legends like Rith and like Sabo Savak, which can pay 2 to tap to destroy target legend.
But do you want?
And it's got Mecha. What the heck?
But I don't know if I want to meet someone in Invasion Block. Like, there's like the Phyrexians are invading, and I don't want to be completed. I'm sorry, I'm good being incomplete. So we're on the internet.
You can find me at Girapuri Gears, which is you'll see it in the show notes. You look up Shivam, there aren't that many. You'll find one.
Girapur is like there's like a canonical spelling in the Wizard's universe to spell it. So
you can put the cards with it spelled right there with the power of Marshall. And Tappy, where can people find you?
I am TappyToeClaws, TappyToeClaws, everywhere that loud internet dinosaurs can be found. So
I realized that
seriously though, Invasion Block.
No, I'm in Lorwyn. I'm in Lorwyn for sure.
So the next question that I wanted to talk about is, and this is maybe the next level thing, which is, did people in your pod, Shivam, start metagaming the next sets and like really start planning ahead, like what you kind of just mentioned right before? It was actually, I guess, during our Patreon break. So Shivam mentioned, I brought up Kaladesh, and Shivam brought how like energy is problematic, but it may be if you pick something with proliferate. So my thought is, if you did like so Kaladesh into Scars of Mirrodin into War of the Spark, you have like this nice library of artifacts / proliferating.
So yeah, here's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people, when they looked at their first deck and were like, where can I go that would make this deck better or can get me a legend that would supplement what I've got going on? And like for me, I had like Uro with an Enchantress build. So I picked a bunch of, I went actually 50-50. Half the sets were, I just really want to crack packs of this set because I think it would be fun. And then I also cracked like Journey into Nyx because that's more constellation cards that would be super good. I cracked, Eldraine because there were enchantments in there that would be helpful. And I just thought, like, if I was going to make an Enchantress deck even better, what sorts of things would I want to put in there? And, like, for instance, some of the people who pulled an Omnath, they were like, okay, well, I'm going to go to, like, Lorwyn block next because there's a ton of elementals, and elementals go really well with Omnath. And I think you can do a level of metagaming like that because I think that's a lot of the fun is like, hey, I found this cool thing. What if I take this set from cards that I'm never going to use that I can be able to blend together to make something really cool? Because that's how most EDH decks used to start. That's how most cool things were like, this card and this card were designed 15 years apart, were never meant to go together. If I put them together, something cool will happen. And I think that's hella fun. But the other half is, you know what? I want to open these 6 packs that are on my desk. Or I'm just going to grab a random pack out of this box and that's a set I'm going to go to, because that's also the fun of being like, okay, well, I've got this set that's all about enemy colored lands and this set that's all about 3 colored shards, and they go together some way. Maybe how do I make it work? Who knows? And then you make it work because it's awesome and it's EDH and it's fun. I think there's an argument both ways. I think you should do a mix of both. I think like week 1, pick a set that will supplement the thing you're doing. Week 2, pick a wacko set that's just going to do something totally different and just go from there and just do the thing that makes you happy, man. Do the thing that makes you, when you crack open that card and you look at it and you're like, I have never seen this card before. I don't even know what it does, but this looks hella cool. Like I got this card from M12, which was this spider that I had literally never heard of because I don't remember commons from M12. Do you? Like Stinger Fling Spider or something like that, where it's like it comes into play, destroy target flying creature. That's hecka good. That is hecka good, right? Like, especially when you're playing green blue and you're like kind of dearth of flyers anyways, and somebody's coming out with like, I've got my mutate stack that's got 38, like menace in, like it's got lifelink, menace,
but
death
also
touch,
we've
flying.
established that I'm going to try to win with Sigarda, so bye.
Exactly. So come in and destroy target flying creature. Pretty sick. And yeah.
So Tappy, what packs do you plan on adding next to your Dominaria box?
Yeah, so for those who are just joining us after the break, I opened Dominaria and I opened Muldrotha because I'm a Luxac horrible person. I didn't win our first game, to be fair. The guy who opened Golos did. But I was debating for a while because I was like, on some level I wanted to open new Zendikar packs, but also the modal lands don't actually function as lands in the graveyard.
Correct.
So if I could get them back as lands with Muldrotha, it'd be dope. But
you can put them into play as lands, or does she? Because it's you may play or cast, right? So
no, it's cast, but you can't cast.
But isn't
no.
Like
isn't
if you have it as a land, you can flicker it and it comes back as a spell.
Yeah, but let's.
I think you can play it as a land.
It's like a whole thing. I'm trying to figure it out. Part of me, per like Shivam's discussion, I kind of just want to like find what 6 Lorwyn packs I could buy, because Lorwyn block is my favorite and I don't care if I'm good or not.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I just bought 6 Khans of Tarkir blocks packs because I realized that's what I want to open up.
You haven't played a single game with your deck?
Well, like I have like a mini +1/+1 counters theme and I'm 5 colors and I like warriors, and it ends up that that there's a party happening on Khans of Tarkir block. They all love +1/+1 counters with what Abzan is doing. And they're gold colored, so I need, by the fact that I'm 5 color, I can take it, like not take advantage of it, but I'm not going to get like punished and not open cards I can't play. So
sure, I think what I'm going to end up doing, just because I'm a horrible person, I think I'm going to open up 6 packs of War of the Spark next, just because Planeswalkers are another permanent type that I can get back with Muldrotha.
Yeah, that's
also,
really good.
Muldrotha is in.
And you can now, you might get Niv Mizzet, but you don't feel bad if you don't get Niv Mizzet.
Yes, and also so either I get Niv Mizzet and I just go. Although to be fair, I opened Joda in my deck already, so like technically I could already be 5 colors, but it was just better to be Muldrotha. But the thing is that the best planeswalkers in War of the Spark are kind of in the Sultai colors anyway. Because like the best ones I could open Narset and just ruin somebody's day.
Oh, I don't want to play against Nissa. Don't make me do that.
I could open Nissa at rare and just make nobody happy. And also there's like everything in War of the Spark is like pretty also good. But again, I think it's really just like I'm capitalizing on like that extra permanent type that I could get. And War of the Spark has a decent amount of fixing in it too. There's a decent amount of fixing in green. There's honestly just that stupid guild gate that enters the battlefield tapped is like more than I have right now.
Ooh,
so
I'm hyped for Tri-lands. I like really could use them in my life.
Yeah,
in my 5-color deck.
My other thought was opening up Ikoria, but I think I'm too much of a horrible person, and I think I'm gonna open War of the Spark.
I think that makes sense.
The thing about this is that it teaches you you don't know how excited you don't understand what excitement is till you crack open a stupid comes into play tapped Guildgate or Gameland that's in your color, and you're just like, oh my god, I have fixing. Like, you don't understand how spoiled an EDH player's land base is. Like, when you're just like, even when you're sitting there complaining about a precon, you're like, oh, look at all these stupid Copperline Gorges or whatever the hell's in there. You have no idea what I would give for a Copperline Gorge equivalent in my deck.
I was really happy that I pulled a Skyclave relic.
Or even like what's the Farhaven, whatever from like, what is that? A colorless card from Ikoria, the random squirrel that can fetch you a land.
Farfinder.
Yeah, Farfinder. Or like that, the elk from like Journey into Nyx that can get you 2. I would give you money for one of those.
You just open up a Journey into Nyx pack. Yeah,
is that where the bronze Elky thing?
No, maybe it was in Theros default.
It's
I don't
in
remember.
something. Who knows? It's a Theros set for sure.
But that card was just like, I would come to your house on my knees begging for like mercy for land. I'm playing blue-green and have like 1 ramp spell. Come on. And that ramp spell is Uro.
Yeah.
You know, Uro gets
to be
really
fair,
expensive.
Uro's a pretty decent ramp spell.
I'm not.
Yeah, but
I don't feel
really
bad. I don't feel bad.
I think the conversation is a little bit biased because Kess and I both opened really good commanders.
That's
so
true.
part of that is
Tawzri is weird. So I would rather have Joda than Tawzri because Tawzri doesn't do very much.
Sure.
Unless, there was like a weird game I had to play, and I'm going to talk more about this next week when we kind of do individual deck techs, and I'll have a game under my belt. So we'll see how this actually goes. But like, I had to balance like most of the good cards I have are not party members. And so, like, but I needed to ramp up how many party members I'm playing with.
She only lets you grab party members. Yeah,
you have to spin the wheel and hope you get party members. She does hit allies, so I can get any of the party people or allies. So like, there's an argument to open up Zendikar.
Yeah, just because you get the allies.
But I was just like, Khazad-dûr here has like 10 wizards. They have like 100, like warrior tribal is a thing. Like I can just like lean into it and just hope it works. But that was like an interesting challenge. Like, she's actually not that good. She's just 5 colors, so great. And I can play all of the colors, which is good for Rise of Zendikar because of because you're playing with all the flip lands, you like have pseudo fixing all over the place. Because all of your splash cards, like I'm splashing blue, but all of the blue cards I'm splashing are just flip lands. And so like worst case scenario, this is a colorless producing Guildgate. And most of the time it's a spell that's useful.
We're gonna see how this strategy plays out for him. So
we're gonna find out on Monday on stream at 7:30 p.m. PST.
It's gonna be it's gonna be you, me, Ben, and Michael.
I believe that is the plan.
And what did Ben and Michael open, just for the people who are maybe just joining
Michael
us?
For sure is doing Ikoria. His box is in the mail. Ben doesn't know yet and is traveling to Washington as we speak, where he will be for a month. And he is going to go to a card store and he's going to try and spend this is what he told me to say. He's going to try spending under $150, but he also can't promise that he won't be like, just like starstruck by a box that looks really, really sweet that's more expensive than that and may like just like buy something insane. So
honestly, in the time of COVID, if like he wants to spend a bunch of money at an LGS and buy a box, I don't care.
He did just sell every Magic card he has over $5 to buy a very, very, very nice guitar. Because he realized he like just uses my collection if he plays in a tournament at this point, which is a weird.
Probably good. I just bought a house, and as soon as I move into the house, I'm gonna send all the cards over $5 that I own that I'm not playing off somewhere because I don't need them. Obviously, I've moved them 3 times now. I don't want them anymore.
Fair.
Yeah, so that's
also M12 has lightning greaves.
What?
which is real, or
M12
Swiftfoot
has
boots.
lightning greaves? No, it doesn't.
Swiftfoot
Swiftfoot
boots.
boots. So
In
yes,
uncommon.
Thank you. I was like, it does
But
not have
uncommon Swiftfoot
that was
boots.
really good.
Which
No
is
legendaries,
real
right?
good.
Though, so it's not a good. They only started doing legendaries in Origins.
There were some legends in M12, but it's a good supplemental set.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
a commander, then it's fine. But again, like per our commander discussion, like our friend Ashley, who opened up Ravnica Allegiance, and she has 2 choices of what she's doing. Listen, I love her, and I will fight you. She's one of my favorite friends.
Then you should have stopped her, Tappy. You could have stopped her.
There are no
Listen,
legendaries in all of M12 of any variety. That can't be
I
true.
might have given her the Ravnica Allegiance box.
Listen,
Listen, I didn't charge. Like, I just gave it to
Wow,
her.
what a
Okay, like I didn't
monster.
just give her a box. To be fair, she said she wanted Ravnica Allegiance, and I'm like, I've got 3 of these in my basement. Just take one. I don't want to move it.
I cracked a Sorin, original Sorin Markov in one of my M12 packs, which does me no good since I have not a single black legend
Oh
No,
no!
in all of the packs I've opened.
Now you just gotta
And I'm
open
just
something
like-
that has. You gotta open a Muldrotha. You gotta be opening
You
Dominaria
gotta open
next.
up Phage. You gotta
I've
open up
opened up
Phage and run
4
97.
Planeswalkers. I've opened up Zendikar Jace, Ikoria Oko, and the full art fancy Oko at that. Sorin Markov and the twins, which I didn't realize the twins had an alternate art until I cracked it open. I was like, that's really cool, and I will literally never play it because I don't play Is It Colors ever. But
Now's the time for make a brawl deck. Make this happen.
such is life. Anyways,
What?
Is it rotated? No, we have a whole year. We have a year left.
Yeah, it's still in here. But because Kess, as I was saying, Kess and I opened up really good commanders. So there's also the theory of like if you open up a really good box, like Ashley opened up Ravnica Allegiance because she wanted all the fixing, and she did get the Chromatic Lantern. She got a bunch of shock lands, so she's sitting pretty good in that regard, and she has a lot of good cards. But now I think her next plan is to open up Ikoria, and she is just hoping and praying and like sacrificing blood to get Kinnan. Because apparently she has a lot of good Simic cards, but she does not have a Simic commander. So she's just going to do.
yeah, but Kinnan is like a mythic though.
Yeah, I'd almost
Is
say
it?
I'd almost recommend doing yeah, Keenan's a mythic, but like
Keenan's a
dragon. What is the blue green dragon maze?
Well, because she wants the chance to get Kinnan. But then there's the few.
It's the tap +1/+1 counters. It's the Merfolk guy who doubles counters on things when you tap him. No.
No, the other one.
Oh, it's not Vorel. Vorel was the original.
No, maybe it is Zagana.
No.
No, it's not.
Zagana's the prime speaker.
It's not Vorel of the Hulklade. That was OG Ravnica?
No, it's Vorel.
Or is it Vorel?
It's Vorel. There was no Merfolk
Is
on
Vorel
original
the one that
Ravnica.
doubles? Okay. So there's that one.
Because original Ravnica came out in the era where they're like, Merfolk isn't the main blue tribe because they can't walk on land. That's dumb. Blah blah blah. But then they were
like Vedalken were or whatever. Like whatever
yeah, like oh wait, no, we were wrong. They're actually the thing people like. So then they like retroactively.
Hulklade is
Yeah.
that's fine.
They like retroactively added giant C's underneath Ravnica that they like discovered between the 2 blocks. Then that's like where all the Merfolk were, and that's why
there are a lot of those in Prague where Ravnica is. I guess
mysterious undersea oceans.
There aren't. There's like a lot of salt mines.
Prague is landlocked, right?
It's decidedly landlocked. There's actually a really weird thing. If anybody wants to talk to me about the weird things that my family has added anchovy paste to make artificially taste like fish, because everyone from at least my family from the Czech Republic is very into things tasting like fish that there's no fish there.
Bless.
Yeah, I do think that Dragon's Maze is a fire set to open. There's like really good. You can get like Rorkthar. You like Lavinia even
Dragon's
is good.
Maze is like, but here's the thing though, Dragon's Maze can also screw you. Because Dragon's Maze, so many cards are gold cards, you might not be able to get a quorum of playables because it was a really small set. Dragon's Maze would be a great week 2 set, but I don't think it's a good week 1 set.
Yeah, if you're missing a legend of a 2-color combo that you might be looking for, I feel like Dragon's Maze is a great roulette wheel to play.
Yeah.
Because you're going that or honestly Fate Reforged seem like the best 2 because they both have a 10
FRF is just a good set in every direction you want.
Or Dominaria, I guess. Those would be the 3. Because Dominaria has like all the gold legends at uncommon. Okay.
Ashley could just get a Tachiova, which I also did. I have Tachiova and Slimefoot inside of my
aren't you guaranteed a legend in every pack of Dominaria? Isn't the
assortment?
legends, isn't it?
Oh no, that was in your pre-release kit.
Yeah,
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 no,
you're guaranteed
you get
Unicorn
a
legend.
legend, just like War of the Spark. You get a planeswalker
like
in every pack.
in the Flipland slot, they had a legendary creature.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, but you could also get one in your normal slots, and they were just like a crap ton of legends, so you were going to get legends by the pound.
Yeah.
So
Like if you're playing that black-white guy who's like bonus for every legend.
Arvod.
There we go.
I also have him, but I'm not playing white, so.
all right. So
But
yep.
EDH Boxing League, man, if you've got the means or even just like the box equivalent of cards sitting around, I cannot recommend it enough.
And if you guys are looking for a place to kind of like organize hosting and a place of all these rules, I think please ask in the comments of the video. And then what we might do is either on Facebook or we might create like maybe in the HAG, the Highlander Arena Gauntlet Discord, which is the more public-facing Discord we manage. We can create like a place to organize around. Or do you have a location, Shiva, maybe to send people?
Yeah, I was just about to say the official Commander Rules Committee Discord has a whole room set to the EDH Boxing League. People have been getting together.
Oh, cool.
Setting up games and doing stuff like that. And yeah, dude, I seriously. And obviously, hit me up on Twitter. I'm always happy to answer questions about this because this is, I think, my new favorite way to play.
Yeah,
but if you say anything mean about Shivam, I will personally come after you.
Look, man, I will sit and suffer for about 18 hours or so.
But also,
before I
please
finally get
don't.
tired.
Like, you don't have to. I'm telling you right now.
If actually, I would request people to just aggressively compliment Shivam for 18 hours straight.
You know what I'm running in my deck? First Iroan Games. First Iroan Games is not a good card, but it's an enchantment, and that is good enough.
Wait, I actually really like that card.
It's like a fine card.
It's a fine card.
If you get a gold, you can fight a creature.
But it's even better when I can like
it draws
throw
you a
it
card.
away and, huh?
It slices, it dices.
It triggers all my constellation effects. What else can I
And
ask
if you
for?
buy it now for one small payment of 4 mana, you'll trigger Constellation at least twice. So thank you both for coming on. We'll do shout-outs really quick, but it's always great to talk to both of you for extended periods of time. Where can people find you on the internet now? Shivam has a podcast you started at the beginning of this year. It's awesome. You had Mark Rosewater on earlier this week. Ben was on like one of the inaugural 6 episodes.
On episode 2.
Yeah. Where can people find that? And where can people find you?
Yeah, it's called Casual Magic. You can find anywhere podcasts are sold or at the Greenlit Podcast Network, or basically go to your podcast reader of choice, type in Casual Magic with Shivam Bhatt and find it. Because frankly, I don't have a web page because nobody's looking for web pages to get their podcast. You're going to go to your podcatcher and you'll grab it, or your iTunes or whatever. I'm on Spotify. I'm on everywhere but YouTube, basically.
We're trying to convince him to get an Instagram. We'll see if successful he can be. And then Tappy, you're doing streaming stuff all the time nowadays beyond just normal cosplay / now pajamas.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm like trying to do streaming, but the problem is I do research science. So science is a capricious mistress, and my days are very strange. So I don't really have a regular stream schedule, but you can find me on Twitch at TappyToeClaws, TappyToeClaws. I like to spell in front of Kessler because it makes me feel good. But
I believe due to the power of Discord, your name is spelled out in the bottom right-hand corner of your window.
So. But anyway, you can find me on Twitch as TappyToeClaws and on Twitter and Instagram. That's basically where I am. I'm a loud dinosaur from the internet. I used to dress up as characters, but now I have nowhere to go, so I just stay at home and hang out with my friends on webcams, I guess.
Hey, I've been dressing up every day this month so far.
I know.
I'm 5 days in. It was a mistake that October is so hot. And in Los Angeles, and it's like 90 degrees.
In summers, man.
And yeah, all my like casual costume ideas were like hoodie based, and so I have to like wait for the other half.
I've been really enjoying them.
Yeah, and you can follow me. I'm at Kess Wiley everywhere, similar to Tappy. My name's right there. Spelled, and then maybe Marshall did a cool graphic somewhere.
I was gonna say, don't you mean KESSWYLIE?
That I can spell. But for podcast listeners, that's very helpful for them because they don't get the video version, and we should be more helpful. And then also we do live streams now. We're doing Commander streams every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. PST. That's West Coast United States time. Next week we will have Tappy on with me, Ben, and Michael, and we will be doing our possibly my first game of the Boxing League, definitely Michael and Ben's first game of the Boxing League, or definitely Ben's, because I will guarantee he'll be sleeping it up on stream as we're playing. The man does not know how to do things not at the last minute. And you can follow Ben at BenBabe. To watch that, it's twitch.tv/KessWiley. Also on the YouTube channel. So if you like and subscribe, you'll get alerted. Hit that bell button. All of those things that YouTubers say in the middle of videos that tell you what to do for algorithms. Well, the algorithm does like comments, so do that as well. And then and tweet us. I'd love to hear your stories of your boxing leagues. We all want to hear it. And want to
tell us what box you would pick first,
Yep.
and whether it should be Avacyn Restored or New Phyrexia, because I'm frankly torn.
How is Rise of Eldrazi? Are there any legendaries in that other than the main
The Eldrazi?
Well, other than them, I'm gonna look it up. Really quick. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's always awesome having you, and we'll have you guys on soon. And thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week / on Monday.
This has been a production of Time Traveler Media, sending podcasts into the future.